Hello and welcome to CS5704 Software Engineering. My name is Gregory Kulchetsky. I like to be called Dr. K. I will be teaching your course this semester. That's why I'm introducing myself. I like to be called Dr. K. That's how I sign my emails. That's how I sign my posts in the discussion boards. And this is the MIT version of CS5704. Some of you may know this, but this semester represents a significant change in how we're doing things in the MIT program. We're moving from a synchronous online environment to a more asynchronous online environment. Now, what does that mean? That means we're moving from live online courses, classes, towards classes in which the material is pre-recorded and you have discussion boards and you communicate asynchronously, okay? There's a lot of benefits to asynchronous courses. The major benefit is probably the flexibility to you, the student. Okay, you don't have to plan your schedule around the course. You don't have to be anywhere at a particular time. Okay, you can plan the course, so to speak, around your schedule. From Virginia Tech's standpoint, it's great because we can reach a much wider audience. Okay, we can go global. All right, that's the buzzword nowadays. We can reach across different time zones and have people across different time zones learning the same material. But at the same time, there are a lot of challenges to this technology. The main one being you lose that live interaction, that interactivity, okay? So we kind of are not doing face-to-face anymore, and then we move to the online but synchronous where it's not face-to-face but it's still live, and now we're moving to asynchronous where it's no longer even live. So that represents a challenge, okay? And we obviously want to keep interactivity and interaction in our course, okay? So the question is, how are we going to do that? And before I answer that question of how we're going to do that in this course, I'd like to put the question to you, okay? I would like you to think just for a minute, just take, 30 seconds or a minute, pause the video and think about, how you would introduce interactivity into an asynchronous course. So I'll give you a chance to pause the video starting now. Okay, did you pause the video? I hope you did. Okay, good. So what were some of the things you came up with? Did you come up with, say, discussion boards, emails, interactive presentations, okay? If you did, then congratulations. We're going to use all of that, all of those technologies in this course, and maybe even experiment with some other technologies. But mainly we're going to be doing recordings. I'll be doing recordings like this one, which doesn't sound too interactive because, you're over there and I'm over here and it's asynchronous, but I'll be doing what I just asked you to do. I'll be periodically asking you to pause the video. I'll ask you a question, pause the video, think about a particular question, and maybe it's something we just covered and I want to make sure that that you know the material, or maybe it's something we're about to cover and I want you to think about how you might answer the question before I tell you how the book answers it or I tell you how I would answer it. So when I do that, please play along and, pause the video and put some serious thought into the question. I think you'll get more out of the recordings that way. Okay, so the second way we're going to interact is through discussions. Discussion boards, and actually that is the primary way that we're going to interact. We're going to have graded discussion boards. We're going to have ungraded discussion boards. For the graded discussion boards, so every week we're going to have a graded and ungraded discussion board at the very least. We might have other discussion boards, geared towards a particular assignment or something like that. But for the graded discussion boards, I'll just ask you you'll be responsible for posting at least one time on a particular topic, okay? And sometimes I'll give you a list of topics to choose from, or sometimes you can ignore the list altogether. As long as it relates to the lecture, it's a valid post, okay? And that will be graded. You are also responsible for reading the posts of other people. I might go through the graded discussion boards before I give a quiz, for example, and say, oh, look, people seem to be interested in this topic. Maybe I'll put a question about that on the quiz. So that's the graded discussion boards. In the ungraded discussion boards, basically it's just questions you have or comments you had about this week's lecture or maybe this week's assignment. Okay, so I want you to feel free, that's totally optional whether you post anything to the ungraded discussion boards, but I want you to feel comfortable posting your questions there. And not only posting your questions, but if you see a question that somebody has and you think you have an answer, feel free to chime in. It doesn't have to be, everybody will understand that you're answering based on your best judgment, okay, and that your answer doesn't necessarily fall perfectly in line with the instructor's answer. I'm going to monitor the discussion boards, and I'll chime in, when I think it's necessary. I'll try to be active in these discussion boards also. So that's going to be important because that's going to be the main way we're going to interact in this course. Okay, so that's recordings, that's discussion boards. The other thing we might do, this is kind of experimental in the hypothetical stages, we might do a couple live Q&A sessions just to see how they go. There'll be, because this course is asynchronous, the live Q&A sessions will be 100% optional. They will be recorded if anybody wants to view them later. And we'll have to figure out how to schedule these live Q&A sessions. It will be definitely based on the time zones that people are in. So if we get, a bunch of people who are in Eastern Standard Time, we might do a couple of Eastern Standard Time Q&A sessions. If we get, people in Mumbai Standard Times, we might do a couple Mumbai Standard Time compatible Q&A sessions. Anyway, that's experimental at this point, so we'll have to see how that goes. And I think that's about it. So let's go. I'm excited. I'm excited to teach the course. We're breaking new ground here. And I hope you learned something in this course. I know from experience, I've taught this course for 10 years. One of the nice things about it is I always learn something from you. So I'm excited about it. And that's all I got from now. This is Dr. K signing out. I will see you on the discussion boards, and I'll see you in the next recording.